In every human being there is a rhythm, an unseen clock that determines when you feel awake, when you feel tired, when you are sharp, and when you are dull. Most people live unaware of this rhythm, stumbling through their days with bursts of energy followed by crashes, nights filled with restlessness, mornings heavy with fatigue. In the very first hours of the day, something extraordinary happens that most people overlook. As the sun rises and the world is still shaking off the quiet of night, the human body is waiting for its first signal, a signal more powerful than food, more vital than caffeine, and more grounding than any alarm clock. This signal is light, and it is not just illumination for your eyes, but a profound messenger for every cell in your body. When you expose your eyes to natural morning light, you are not just seeing the dawn, you are programming your biology, locking in a rhythm that determines how alert you will feel through the day and how well you will sleep when night comes. Without this input, your internal clock drifts, and when your internal clock drifts, your energy, mood, and focus lose alignment with the very cycles of creation. Think about it, every creature on Earth, from the smallest plant to the most complex human being, follows the rising and setting of the sun. Seeds sprout when the light arrives, flowers turn their faces toward it, birds sing because they sense it, and even the tides of the ocean obey it. Light is not just a physical phenomenon, it is a command, a divine order woven into the fabric of existence. When you step outside in the morning and allow the early rays to touch your eyes, you are participating in that same law, aligning yourself with the natural rhythm that has guided life for thousands of years. This is why morning light exposure is not optional, it is essential. It anchors your circadian rhythm, the internal 24-hour clock that dictates when you should feel awake and when you should feel tired. Inside your brain, just behind the eyes, sits a tiny cluster of neurons known as the suprachiasmatic nucleus. It may be small, but it is the master clock of your body. It listens directly to the light coming through your eyes, and with that information, it sets the timing for hormone release, body temperature, alertness, digestion, and sleep. Morning light, rich in the specific wavelengths of blue and yellow, is the trigger that tells this master clock it's daytime. Begin the process. Without this trigger, your body does not know what time it is. It guesses, it drifts, and you begin to feel sluggish, irritable, or restless at the wrong times of day. But with that morning light, the guesswork disappears. The system locks onto the correct schedule, and everything from your metabolism to your mood aligns with it. It is no coincidence that ancient traditions always tied the start of the day to the rising sun. Waking with the light, praying with the light, and working with the light were never random cultural choices. They were reflections of a deep wisdom, the recognition that life is designed to move in sync with the heavens. When you neglect morning light, when you trap yourself indoors under artificial bulbs or stare at the blue glow of your phone instead of the sky, you are cutting yourself off from the original source of rhythm. Artificial light, no matter how bright, cannot mimic the spectrum of the sun at dawn. It cannot send the same powerful signal to your master clock. Only real sunlight can. When the photons of morning light enter your eyes, specialized cells, called melanopsin cells, capture them and deliver their message directly to your brain clock. This is not the same as ordinary vision. It is a separate system, one built only for timekeeping. The moment that light arrives, your body begins to release cortisol, not in the damaging way that stress does, but in a healthy, natural surge that prepares you for alertness, focus, and activity. This cortisol pulse is like the starter's gun in a race, firing off the energy systems that will carry you through the morning and into the day. And just as importantly, that very same signal sets a timer in motion for when your body will release melatonin later, the hormone of sleep. That timer runs roughly 14 to 16 hours, meaning the light you receive at 7 a.m. is already preparing your body for rest at 9 or 10 p.m. Morning light is not just about waking up. It is about preparing for sleep before the day has even begun. Without it, melatonin is released at odd times, often too late at night, leaving you tossing and turning in bed, unable to fall asleep. Or worse, it is released too early, making you feel groggy in the afternoon when you need to be focused and sharp. People often look for solutions in supplements, energy drinks, or endless cups of coffee. But the true solution is far simpler and was given to you at the beginning of time. Step outside, lift your eyes to the sky, and let the morning light reset your system. This daily act is not trivial. It is a discipline, a form of obedience to the design of your own biology. By doing it, you are not just helping yourself feel awake, you are entering into harmony with a system so precise and so elegant that it governs the very rhythm of life on Earth. It is a rhythm that no human invention can improve upon and no shortcut can replace. When you claim it each morning, you are not just adjusting your body, you are connecting to a greater order, an order written in the sky, etched into your DNA, and reinforced by the cycle of every sunrise. In the very first hours of your day, your body is looking for a command, a clear signal that it is time to rise, to engage, to step into alertness. That command does not come from coffee, it does not come from an alarm clock, and it certainly does not come from scrolling on a phone screen. It comes from sunlight. When natural morning sunlight touches your eyes, it sends a direct message into your nervous system that it is time to release a carefully measured surge of cortisol. Now, many people hear the word cortisol and immediately think of stress, anxiety, or harm. But cortisol in the morning is not your enemy, it is your ally. It is the fuel that wakes you up, sharpens your mind, and prepares you to meet the demands of the day with strength and clarity. This natural release of cortisol is not chaotic. It is not the frantic, damaging spike that comes when you are under pressure arguing or rushing. Instead, it is a healthy surge precisely timed by your body to occur within the first hour of waking if you give it the light signal it needs. Without that signal, the release is weak, delayed, or irregular, and you feel it as grogginess, brain fog, or the desperate reach for stimulants just to get moving. With that signal, the cortisol rises strong and stable, lifting your energy, sharpening your focus, and giving you the sense that you are truly awake. This moment in the morning is sacred because the way cortisol rises then determines the rhythm of your energy across the whole day. If it rises properly with sunlight, your body knows when to be alert, when to focus, and when to prepare for rest later. If it fails to rise correctly, the entire system drifts out of sync, leaving you dragging in the morning, restless at night, and constantly battling exhaustion in between. That is why this natural trigger, sunlight, is not just about feeling good in the morning. It is about aligning your entire biological clock with the design it was meant to follow. Think of the sun as the original activator, the divine switch that flips your body from night mode into day mode. The light enters your eyes, not to give you a picture of the world, but to signal specialized cells that carry their message straight to your brain's master clock. That message is simple yet profound: release cortisol now. And the beauty of it is that this surge of cortisol does more than wake you. It also sets the timer for your sleep that night. 14 to 16 hours later, your body will be ready to release melatonin, the hormone that carries you into rest. The cycle of day and night of energy and recovery is written into your biology, and it is activated by this one moment of light-driven cortisol release. If you ignore this process, if you choose to stay indoors, shielded by walls, blinds, or artificial light, you silence the most powerful cue your body is waiting for. You trick your nervous system into thinking it is still night, and the result is a confused, sluggish release of cortisol at the wrong times. Instead of rising strong in the morning, it may creep up in the afternoon or late evening, leaving you wired when you should be calm and exhausted when you should be awake. This is why so many people today struggle with energy crashes, insomnia, or dependence on caffeine. It is not that their bodies are broken. It is that their natural rhythm has been neglected, the light that triggers it has been ignored. But when you reclaim the simple practice of stepping outside in the early part of the day, you are tapping into a design that is ancient, precise, and unchanging. You stand in the same light that has awakened every generation before you, the same light that stirs birds to sing, plants to grow, and oceans to move. And in that moment, your body responds with gratitude, releasing exactly what you need to feel alive, focused, and steady. The cortisol surge is not random. It is purposeful, timed, and life-giving. You might not feel it as a sudden rush or a jolt, but over the course of days and weeks, the difference is undeniable. Your mornings become sharper, your afternoons smoother, your nights calmer. You are no longer at the mercy of stimulants or restless tossing. Instead, you are living in alignment with a law greater than yourself, a rhythm that was written before you were born. The sunlight triggers your cortisol not to harm you, but to strengthen you, to prepare you, to align you with the pattern of creation itself. When the first rays of sunlight fall upon your eyes in the morning, they do more than awaken your internal clock or guide the release of cortisol. They also begin a cascade of changes in your brain chemistry that shape your mood, motivation, and sense of purpose throughout the day. Among these changes, one of the most powerful is the activation of dopamine pathways. Dopamine is often misunderstood as simply the pleasure chemical, but it is far greater than that. It is the molecule of drive, anticipation, and forward movement. It is what pushes you to rise, to pursue, to seek, to create, to feel joy in progress rather than just in reward. And the trigger that sets this system in motion each day is light, specifically the early morning light that carries the full spectrum your biology was built to respond to. The moment this natural light strikes the cells in your eyes, the signal travels deep into your brain and interacts with the systems that regulate dopamine release. This is not artificial stimulation like sugar or drugs, which hijack the dopamine system and leave you depleted. This is the original, natural design, a gentle yet powerful rise in dopamine that stabilizes your mood, lifts your outlook, and helps you feel engaged with the world. You begin the day not only awake but motivated, not only alert but inspired. Without this light, your dopamine system remains dull, and you are far more vulnerable to low mood, lack of drive, and the constant temptation to seek shallow rewards that never satisfy. This connection between light and dopamine is no accident. It is part of the deep order of creation. Just as plants turn toward the sun to grow, human beings were designed to turn toward the light to ignite their inner fire of motivation. Every sunrise carries with it the invitation to reset your emotional state, to push away the weight of yesterday, and to step into the new day with renewed strength. The brain, in its design, answers that invitation with dopamine, the chemical that makes you want to act, to move, to achieve. It is no wonder that cultures across history revered the dawn as a time of renewal, prayer, and intention. In those moments, the light itself was preparing the body and spirit for action. Dopamine is not just about feeling good. It is about persistence. It is the fuel that allows you to continue striving even when the goal is far away. When your morning begins with natural light exposure, the dopamine rise helps set your baseline higher for the day. This means you are less likely to be dragged down by setbacks, less prone to feeling apathetic, and more equipped to focus on what truly matters. Your mood is not left to chance. It is anchored in a biological process tied to the rising sun. Without that anchor, your dopamine levels may fall too low, leaving you restless, discouraged, or overly dependent on external stimulation just to feel alive. Consider how often people chase dopamine through quick hits, social media scrolling, junk food, endless entertainment. These bring fleeting spikes but leave the system drained, demanding more and more to feel the same effect. But the morning light does not deplete, it restores, it sets a healthy baseline, providing a steady stream of motivation without the crash. This is the difference between living off borrowed energy and living off the source itself. And that source is available to you every morning, freely given, waiting just beyond your walls. When you neglect the light, when you stay indoors or rely only on artificial lamps, you are cutting off one of the most profound regulators of your mental state. The body cannot be tricked. No indoor bulb, no screen glow can replicate the precise spectrum and intensity of sunlight at dawn. Only that light has the power to trigger the correct neural pathways to release dopamine in the right measure, at the right time, for the right purpose. That is why those who embrace the morning light often speak of feeling lighter in spirit, more optimistic, and more connected, not because of vague inspiration, but because their very brain chemistry is being tuned by creation itself. The rising of dopamine through light is also a safeguard. It protects against the drift into despair, against the stagnation that comes from a life disconnected from natural rhythms. It is a daily reset button for mood and drive. With each dawn, the opportunity is renewed. The system recalibrated. You do not need to manufacture motivation. You only need to expose yourself to the light that was designed to awaken it. To understand this is to realize that your emotional health is not separate from your physical environment. It is intimately tied to the cycles of the earth, to the heavens above you, to the light that has been marking days and seasons since the beginning. When you step outside in the early morning and lift your gaze toward that light, you are not only feeding your body's clock, you are feeding your soul's drive. Dopamine rises, mood lifts, and the day ahead becomes not a burden to endure but a journey to embrace. At the heart of human rest lies a single molecule that determines whether you will fall into deep, restorative sleep or lie awake restless and unsettled. That molecule is melatonin. It is often called the sleep hormone, but in truth, melatonin is more than just a switch that turns off your day. It is a signal, a declaration to every cell in your body that the time of rest has come, that the night has begun, that the cycle of renewal is to take place. And the timing of this powerful hormone is not random. It is not left to chance. It is set in motion each morning by the light you choose to embrace or neglect. When you step into the morning light, a cascade of processes begins within your brain. The early light strikes the cells in your eyes and carries a message to your body's master clock nestled deep in the hypothalamus. That message is precise. It is morning. Begin the day. Alongside the release of cortisol and the rise of dopamine, another timer is silently set. 14 to 16 hours after that first light exposure, your body will begin releasing melatonin. The very act of seeing the sun in the morning is what determines when you will sleep at night. This is why sleep is not something you can manufacture by willpower at midnight. It is something you prepare for the moment you wake. Without this morning anchor, melatonin becomes confused. It may surge too early, leaving you fatigued and foggy in the middle of the day, or too late, leaving you tossing in bed, waiting for a rest that never comes. Many who struggle with insomnia, with broken sleep, or with restless nights are not suffering because their bodies are incapable of producing melatonin. They are suffering because their rhythms are unaligned. They have not given their master clock the morning signal, and so the release of melatonin drifts out of order. The body does not know when to shut down, and the mind does not know when to release its grip. This is where the wisdom of creation becomes clear. You are not separate from the heavens above you. You are woven into them. Just as the moon marks the tides and the sun marks the seasons, the light at dawn marks the flow of your hormones. Melatonin is not a supplement you add from the outside. It is a gift already placed within you, waiting to be released at the right time. But it is only unlocked by obedience to the rhythm of light. Step into the morning light, and you set the key in motion. Ignore it, and the system falters. Artificial light screens and indoor living confuse this delicate balance. A lamp above your desk may allow you to see, but it does not contain the spectrum of morning sunlight that tells your clock what time it is. A phone in your hand may glow, but its blue light at night does the opposite of morning light. It tricks your brain into thinking it is still daytime, suppressing melatonin when you need it most. This is why so many in the modern world walk through their days fatigued and their nights restless. They are disconnected from the original signal, the natural code written into every sunrise and sunset. Morning light is not just about starting your day. It is about ending it well. The photons that strike your eyes at dawn are the very same ones that determine how quickly and deeply you will fall asleep at night. They whisper to your master clock, begin the countdown, and when the hours pass and the sky darkens, that countdown finishes in the flood of melatonin that brings stillness to your body and quiet to your mind. You cannot buy this timing. You cannot fake it. You can only align yourself with it. The spiritual weight of this truth is profound. Every day, you are given an opportunity to choose alignment or disarray, order or confusion, rest or restlessness. Creation itself has offered you a system so perfect that all you must do is participate in it. Step into the morning light and you set into motion a cycle that ends in peace. Stay hidden from it, and you fight against the very design that was meant to sustain you. The Creator's rhythm is written in the sky, and melatonin is its echo within your flesh. Imagine the peace of a life where nights are no longer battles, where sleep comes not as a struggle but as a gift. That life begins not in the evening but in the morning, not with darkness but with light. Every sunrise carries in it the promise of rest to come. Every morning that you greet with open eyes under the sky is a preparation for the night when you will lay your head down without worry. This is not poetic fancy. It is the precise science of your biology, a system designed with elegance, reinforced by every dawn, and made sacred by its consistency. The human body was not designed to operate on endless fuel. It runs on cycles, rises and falls of energy, carefully woven across the day like a symphony. When those cycles are in alignment, you rise strong in the morning, remain steady through the afternoon, and enter into the night prepared for rest. But when they fall out of alignment, you experience what has become almost universal in modern life, the afternoon crash. The heavy eyes, the sluggish thoughts, the sudden craving for sugar or caffeine to keep you moving. Yet this crash is not inevitable. It is not a sign of weakness or age. It is often the direct result of failing to set your body's rhythm properly in the morning. And the most powerful tool to prevent it is the same one that governs so much else: exposure to morning light. When you step into natural light at the start of the day, your brain responds with a carefully timed release of cortisol and dopamine, and it begins a countdown for melatonin at night. But there is another effect equally profound. It stabilizes your energy curve across the day. Instead of spiking and crashing, your energy follows the arc it was designed for: high in the morning, steady in the afternoon, and gently declining towards sleep. Without that morning anchor, your circadian rhythm drifts, your hormones misfire, and your body struggles to know what time it is. The result is a false dip in energy, a collapse in the afternoon that sends you reaching for stimulants or distractions. Think about what usually happens in that moment. People turn to caffeine often late in the day, hoping to push back the fog. But this caffeine lingers in the system, blocking the very adenosine that should accumulate naturally and guide you toward healthy sleep at night. The temporary boost is borrowed energy, and the cost is restlessness when the day is over. Others reach for sugar, quick carbohydrates that give a brief lift but trigger a sharper fall. The cycle repeats itself day after day, leaving many convinced that the crash is a permanent feature of human life. But it is not. It is a sign that the system has lost alignment with its original design. Morning light exposure is the simple, profound reset that prevents this. By signaling to your master clock that it is day, it ensures that the release of cortisol is strong in the morning and steady through the early afternoon, tapering off naturally without collapse. The body knows where it is in the 24-hour cycle, and so the afternoon does not bring confusion or chaos. Energy is preserved, focus is maintained, and you are able to move through your tasks without the desperate search for stimulation. This is why those who align themselves with light find that their afternoons feel different, not like battles against fatigue, but like steady ground upon which to walk. It is not that they never feel tired, for the body must eventually prepare for rest, but they do not fall into the unnatural slump that robs them of productivity and joy. Their rhythm is smooth because it is in harmony with the sun above them. The Creator has written this pattern into the fabric of existence: rise with light, sustain through light, and decline with darkness. Ignore it, and you fight against the very structure that was made for your health. Embrace it, and you discover that the so-called crash has no power over you. Science confirms what tradition and wisdom have always taught, that the rhythms of nature are not suggestions but instructions. The afternoon crash is not simply about food, workload, or age. It is about whether your body has been anchored to the cycle of day and night through morning light. A body that has received its cue from the sun operates like a well-tuned instrument, with each hormone, each neurotransmitter, and each system playing its part in harmony. A body deprived of that cue operates in confusion, stumbling through peaks and valleys that were never meant to exist. There is something deeply spiritual in realizing that your energy is not random, that it is tied to the heavens themselves. The same light that governs the movement of plants and animals, the same light that has marked time since the beginning, is the light that can preserve you from collapse in the middle of your day. By stepping outside each morning, you are not just preventing an afternoon slump, you are obeying a greater order, aligning yourself with a system that was gifted to you. The The steadiness you feel in the afternoon is the fruit of that obedience, the reward of honoring the rhythm of light. Imagine what your life could look like if your afternoons were not defined by fatigue but by focus, if your mind remained clear and your body remained capable without constant crutches of caffeine or sugar. That is not a fantasy, it is the natural result of living in step with the light. The crash is not a sentence. It is a signal, a reminder to return to the pattern you were designed to follow. Each sunrise offers you the choice: you stumble through the day disconnected or rise into steady strength by anchoring yourself to the light. It is a mistake to think that something so profound as aligning your body, your mind, and your spirit with the rhythm of creation must take hours of labor or complex rituals. The truth is far simpler, far more merciful. Just a few minutes of morning light, 5 to 10 at most, is enough to reset your entire system. This is the astonishing generosity woven into your biology. You do not need to climb mountains, travel to distant lands, or spend fortunes to find balance. All you need is to step outside, look toward the sky, and allow the light that was freely given since the beginning of time to touch your eyes. In those few minutes, photons that have traveled across the vastness of space strike the specialized cells in your retina. These cells, sensitive not to images but to brightness and wavelength, carry their message to the master clock of your brain. With that single signal, the body begins its daily reset. Cortisol is released to energize you. Dopamine is elevated to lift your mood. Melatonin is timed to ensure your sleep later. And your energy arc for the day is stabilized. It is as if the machinery of your body, scattered and confused during the night, is suddenly brought into order by a conductor's baton. And the beauty is that the baton is the sun itself, requiring only minutes of your time. Too often people believe they are trapped in fatigue, poor sleep, or unstable moods because they lack discipline, because their willpower is weak, or because their bodies are broken. But in reality, the system is simply missing its reset. Without the signal of morning light, the body guesses at the time, and its guesses are often wrong. Hormones are released too late or too early, energy peaks and collapses at the wrong hours, and sleep comes as a struggle instead of a gift. Yet the solution is astonishingly simple: 5 to 10 minutes outside, without glass between you and the sky, without artificial filters, just you and the light. This is why ancient wisdom so often tied prayer, meditation, or work to the rising sun. It was not superstition, it was alignment with reality. The Creator has designed a system so elegant that to participate in it requires only presence. 5 minutes may feel insignificant, but it is enough to anchor your entire circadian rhythm. 10 minutes may feel too short to matter, but it is enough to determine whether you will fall asleep peacefully at night or wrestle against restlessness. This is not about effort. It is about obedience. Artificial light can never provide this reset. Indoor bulbs lack the intensity and spectrum of sunlight, and screens in the morning are a counterfeit signal. They trick the eyes without carrying the full message your master clock is waiting for. Only the true morning light, with its unique balance of blue and yellow wavelengths, can set your system correctly. And once set, your body carries that alignment throughout the day, stabilizing your mood, energy, and sleep. All of this from minutes spent under the sky. Think of the mercy in this design. The Creator could have required hours of ritual or complex tasks to maintain health, but instead, the command is simple: step into the light. Just as plants need only the sun to grow, you need only a few minutes of dawn to thrive. There is something profoundly spiritual in realizing that what feels so small carries such immense weight. The very photons of the morning, free and abundant, are the medicine most people are missing. Those minutes also shape more than your biology. They shape your spirit. To pause, to step outside, to feel the coolness of morning air and see the heavens above is to remember your place in the greater order. You are not separate from creation. You are part of it. The same light that awakens the birds, stirs the trees, and moves the oceans is the light that resets you. And you do not need to take all of it. You need only a taste, a few minutes that connect you back to the rhythm written since the beginning. For the person who says, "I do not have time," understand this: you cannot afford not to make time. The cost of ignoring those 5 minutes is fatigue, anxiety, poor sleep, and endless cycles of seeking artificial fixes. The reward of honoring them is clarity, steadiness, and peace. The choice is not between effort and laziness. The choice is between alignment and disarray. 5 to 10 minutes, this is all it takes. A gift so simple, so profound, that it humbles you to realize how much has been placed within your reach. You are not asked for perfection. You are not asked for hours of sacrifice. You are only asked to stand under the sky and receive what was made for you. Those minutes are not wasted. They are invested. They are the anchor for your day, the seed for your night, and the proof that the greatest transformations often begin with the simplest acts.